December 1944. The Western Front. The war seemed almost over. Allied armies were pushing toward Germany, sure that the enemy was finished. But deep inside the frozen forests of East Prussia, a different plan was taking shape. One born from desperation and boldness. At the Wolf's Lair, Adolf Hitler called in a man already famous, SS officer Otto Skorzeny. He was the commando who had rescued Mussolini from a mountain prison, a master of deception who had changed battles through daring and luck. Now, Hitler had a final task for him. Unfolding a map of Belgium, the Führer traced a line through the Ardennes. "We will strike here," he said. "We will drive to Antwerp and split the British and the Americans, just as we did in 1940. But this time, speed would decide everything. The bridges over the Meuse River had to be captured before the Allies could blow them up. Then came the order that shocked even Skorzeny. His men, Hitler said, would wear American uniforms, drive American vehicles, and speak English. They would become the enemy. Skorzeny hesitated. He knew the Hague Convention of 1907. Any soldier caught fighting in an enemy uniform could be executed as a spy. Hitler brushed the worry aside. "Remove the uniforms before combat," he said. "It will be perfectly legal." The mission was code-named Operation Greif, the Griffin. In late October 1944, a strange order spread through the German army. Volunteers who spoke English were wanted for a secret mission behind enemy lines. Thousands responded, but few understood what they had signed up for. At the training camp in Grafenwöhr, Bavaria, Skorzeny gathered his recruits under strict secrecy. Letters were censored. One soldier was shot for revealing too much. Soon, the problem became clear. Out of 2,500 men, only 10 spoke fluent English. A few dozen could hold a short conversation. The rest barely knew how to say yes or no. Those who could not speak were told to clutch their stomachs, say sorry, and pretend to be sick if anyone questioned them. Uniforms were another problem. Boxes arrived filled with British, Polish, and even Russian clothing. Some American jackets were blood-stained. Others were marked POW. Skorzeny had asked for Sherman tanks and jeeps. He received German Panther tanks, quickly repainted olive drab with white stars brushed on their sides. They would fool only a very young GI, he later said, and only at night. Still, the training continued. Recruits studied American ranks, salutes, and slang. They watched Hollywood films and memorized baseball teams, chewing gum brands, and popular phrases. They practiced walking like Americans. Relaxed, confident, hands in pockets. They chewed gum, smoked constantly, and learned to say, "Hey, buddy." The best English speakers were formed into a special unit called Einheit Stielau, named after their commander, Captain Ernst Stielau. Their mission was to sneak behind enemy lines, misdirect convoys, cut phone lines, and create confusion. By mid-December, Panzer Brigade 150 was ready, or as ready as it could be. On December 16th, before dawn, the Ardennes exploded in fire. More than 200,000 German soldiers advanced through snow and fog. The Battle of the Bulge had begun. The surprise was total. American positions collapsed, communications failed, and prisoners streamed back through the snow. In that chaos, Skorzeny's disguised jeeps rolled forward, drivers in U.S. uniforms, engines humming quietly. Some teams entered American-held towns, studied defenses, and calmly drove away again. Others switched road signs, cut phone wires, and sent supply convoys in the wrong direction. For 2 days, confusion spread faster than fire, but the advance slowed. At Elsenborn Ridge and St. Vith, American troops fought with fierce resistance. Roads jammed with wrecked vehicles and snow. The German timetable collapsed. On December 17th, Skorzeny realized the deception was failing. His men were ordered to fight as normal soldiers, but many were already trapped behind enemy lines. That same morning, near Eiweiler, 3 of them, Manfred Pernass, Gunther Billing, and Wilhelm Schmidt, were stopped at a checkpoint by Sergeant William Creel. Their English broke down. Their weapons were British. Within minutes, they were under arrest. During interrogation, one man claimed their real mission was to capture General Dwight Eisenhower himself. Whether true or rumor, the result was panic. Fear swept through the Allied lines. Within hours, every checkpoint from Bastogne to Brussels became a fortress of suspicion. The war of guns had turned into a war of passwords and questions. It was a new kind of battle, a war of paranoia. In the days that followed, fear spread through the Allied lines like wildfire. Rumors said that German commandos were disguised as American soldiers, changing road signs and sending convoys into traps. Some said they were going after General Eisenhower himself. No one knew what was true, but everyone was afraid. American troops set up endless checkpoints. At every crossroads, nervous soldiers stopped their own comrades and began asking questions. What's the capital of Illinois? Who won the World Series? What is Mickey Mouse's girlfriend's name? Anyone who hesitated, anyone with the wrong accent or the wrong answer, was arrested. Some were even shot on the spot. The roads of Belgium became filled with confusion. Generals were stopped by their own guards. At one checkpoint, Field Marshal Montgomery himself was held up because no one believed who he was. Even Eisenhower was put under heavy guard inside his headquarters. For weeks, he was not allowed to leave. The paranoia had taken over. Meanwhile, Skorzeny's men were being hunted. American patrols captured several disguised soldiers. When the truth came out that they had been wearing U.S. uniforms, their fate was sealed. On December 23rd, 3 commandos, Manfred Pernass, Gunther Billing, and Wilhelm Schmidt, were tried by a military court near Huy, Belgium. The trial lasted only a few hours. The verdict: guilty. The sentence: death by firing squad. The next morning, they were led to a field near Henri Chapelle. They stood quietly as the sentence was read. Then, with the command, "Fire," they fell, executed as spies. Over the next few weeks, more German agents were captured and shot. Operation Greif had ended in failure. For Skorzeny himself, the mission was over long before. His tanks had been destroyed, his men scattered. By Christmas, he reported back to headquarters with less than half his force. The Battle of the Bulge had turned into a German disaster. When the war finally ended in May 1945, Skorzeny surrendered to the Americans. He was charged with war crimes, accused of violating the laws of war by using enemy uniforms. At the Nuremberg trials, he stood in the dock, calm and confident. But then something unexpected happened. A British officer, F. Yo Thomas, himself a former spy, came forward to testify. He told the court that Allied commandos had also used German uniforms in secret missions. The judges had no choice. Skorzeny was found not guilty. He walked free in 1948. For many years after the war, stories about Operation Greif lived on. Some soldiers still swore they had met fake Americans on the road that winter. Others believed the Eisenhower kidnapping plan was real. But the truth was simpler and sadder. It was a desperate plan, born in the final months of a dying empire, a plan that caused more fear than damage and turned suspicion into a weapon stronger than any gun. In the end, Operation Greif was not remembered for victory or success, but for the chaos it created. A shadow war of rumors, deception, and fear.